Good evening, everybody. It is Wednesday, January 10th, and we are going to go over for the first time this upcoming weekend's system. If you have not heard by now, there is a quite a significant system heading our way, probably one of the strongest we've seen this winter, if not for the previous couple winters combined. I'd say it's pretty strong in terms of dynamics and overall strength. And that's going to give us most of the state really some significant accumulations of snow and also some pretty heavy winds as well. We're going to go over the hour by hour and also what the models are saying in terms of accumulation, and then also what we're thinking in terms of our forecast as well. So welcome to the stream. This will be about 5-10 minutes. I might take your questions, so stick around if you have questions. Let's go ahead and dive into some models here. We're going to use one model in particular tonight because I think it has a good handle on how things are looking and how things will probably go. It did pretty well with the last system, so we kind of trust it more as we get some confidence in this particular model. That's the GFS model. So we're going to go ahead and move this forward into the Friday morning time frame. We're going to go ahead and speed this through. This is current look at what the radar would look like, and then we move this forward into tomorrow. Some passing snow, inch or two, maybe isolate higher amounts tomorrow, nothing significant. We move into Friday morning. We have the system coming up from the plains over Oklahoma here. We start seeing it move our way. This is Friday morning. This is 7 a.m. Friday. We start seeing snow move into the state between, we'll say, 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. On the west side, and the south side has the best chance to get this snow first. It'll start as snow, and then as that moves further into the area, the snow turns heavier. This is 1 p.m. Friday afternoon. We start seeing this heavier, brighter banding down here in southwest Michigan, and move it into the day on Friday into the evening time. Heavy snow overshadows the entire part of Michigan with the heaviest banding closer to low pressure in southern and central parts of Michigan, as that moves northeast, and then that exits the state Saturday morning after dumping a lot of snow in the afternoon, evening, and overnight hours on Friday and Saturday morning, leaving lake effect snow showers during the day on Saturday. So I'm gonna guess probably right around 24 plus hours of snow for this system. And that is going to be the case for a majority, pretty much everybody here in the lower peninsula, and also the parts of the mainly eastern upper peninsula, but also the western peninsula as well. I can get on the action here as well. In terms of accumulation, I'll go ahead and show you this model. This is going to be a little bit aggressive, so take a few inches off these accumulations for right now, but just give you the idea of where the heaviest snowfall is going to fall according to this model. We start seeing the heavier snow work in by Friday. This is 1 p.m. We start kind of see it creep up in here. It starts getting really heavy late afternoon, early evening, and then the heaviest swath here is roughly from Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, all the way up towards Alpena is going to be the heaviest swath. And that's going to likely reach 10 plus inches. Our forecast right now is 8 to 12. If this model holds, we also get some additional models saying that this could be a little bit higher. We're likely going to bump those up a few. But again, we still have about 48 hours until the event, 36 hours really until the event begins. So we have some time to adjust as needed. We'd rather go low and then adjust higher than go high and adjust lower. So again, that's going to be the heaviest swath here. Around that heaviest swath, we're going to have anywhere to 4 to 8 plus. We see a pretty wide area here in lower Michigan in that we'll go ahead and move around here. We have 7 inches, we have 6, we have 8, just going to be in that 4 to 8 plus range, depending on exactly where that exactly sets up. And then one area in particular I want to go through and mention is Southeast Michigan. Now, if you read our forecast or saw our map earlier, Southeast Michigan is going to be in a little bit of a warm zone for about a 3-hour period Friday night. And what that's going to look like here, this is your temperature graph on the GFS. We're going to move this through again. This is your temperatures. You're going to see the colder temperatures highlighted in pink, blue, and with aqua there. And your warmer temperatures are going to be that greenish mild color. Move this into Friday afternoon. We see the center of low pressure down here in Illinois. Notice the warm air down here in Illinois, but notice the cold air up here in Michigan. So Michigan's going to be 30, 32 degrees or so when the system begins. Cold enough for snow. But as we get into Friday evening, check this out. Check out southern Michigan here, right about this time frame right here. I got to pause it right there, and it keeps going back. This is what I hate about slidings, or slider here. I want to pause it right there. All right, perfect. I'll zoom in. So if you're in Southeast Michigan here, notice that your temperatures for a brief period of time here are 37, 38, 40 in Toledo here. But what that's going to do is cause this potentially, assuming this track doesn't shift any, what that's going to do is cause an area in Southeast Michigan here, roughly from the Irish Hills and Lenawee County up toward Port Huron. What that's going to do is cause rain to start mixing in late Friday evening. It's not going to be very long lasting, but it will be enough to impact overall snow totals. After that warm air moves out, which it will move out fairly quickly as that low passes off to the east and north, go ahead and move forward 3 hours, and we're already back to freezing temperatures. What that's going to do while it rains, if it rains, I'll say if, because the low track is still in question here. It could shift back and forth a little bit more, but right now it's looking like we're going to have those warmer temperatures. Assuming that happens, we're going to have rain for 3 hours, and then a very big rush, I guess, of cold air, you can call it, will move in, and that could cause some flash freezing situation where we could have the rain that falls on untreated surfaces, sidewalks, your cars. That will likely freeze very quickly, very rapidly. So we call it a flash freeze. It's not going to be freezing rain. It's different than freezing rain, but it definitely has potential here to make things really slick very quickly. Late Friday night. This is going to be right around the 11 p.m. time frame, give or take an hour or two. And then behind that, the winds will start to blow harder, and then we're going to start seeing more in the way of snow. So even though you're going to get rain, you're still going to get snow at the start and snow at the end. So you're likely going to have a few inches of accumulation with this, but it's not going to be as significant as, say, if you were to go 100 miles north towards the Lansing, up towards the Mount Pleasant areas up there, who are going to get in the very heaviest band of this. Now, next thing we're going to cover here is the wind with this. Now, the winds, if you notice here, if you can read maps pretty well, you're going to notice that isobars here around this low pressure are very tight. What that's going to indicate here is your wind gusts are likely going to exceed, sustaining between 25 and 35 miles per hour. Mixing with this heavy snow that's going to happen, we're going to have likely whiteout conditions, blowing snow, and potentially may see a few blizzard warnings in the state. I know that's pretty strong wording, but at this point, our confidence is pretty high in the winds overlapping with the heaviest snow. So we're likely going to see a few blizzard warnings, or at least blizzard-like conditions at the very least here in the state. It's going to be a pretty wide area too that could see these conditions. Not just going to be one particular swath here. The winds are heavy across the entire state, as well as the snow is encompassing pretty much the entire state with that. But after this low moves off to the northeast on Saturday morning, we're going to have northwest winds, northwest to southeast winds that are going to start kicking in the lake effect machine, we call it. And this system is going to end with lake effect snow, which could potentially accumulate more in the way of significant accumulation for areas that are prone to lake effect. Usually that's west of US 131 in West Michigan, and also portions of the UP who are prone to the lake effect. We call them snow belts up there. The prone area is basically near is it Marquette, I want to say, and then areas over towards the western part of the UP, more so towards the Ontonagon, Greenland, Covington.
Ontonagon.
Yeah, butcher that, up that way as well. So we're going to see mainly lake effect snow after Saturday, but the potential is there for more accumulation on Saturday and Sunday. Just unsure at this point, because these models, the model guidance that we use, GFS and Euro models, are mid and long range models. They don't really do a good job picking up on the lake effects. We're going to have to wait until tomorrow, possibly into Friday, to get a good idea of what we could expect on the lake effect side of this. Our current thinking, though, in Michigan, go ahead and switch over here to our official forecast map. Now, this does not include lake effect snow. I want to highlight that. This does not include lake effect snow. With that being said, the heaviest swath will likely be down there towards the Indiana border, 8 to 12, all the way up toward Alpena, like we saw in the GFS model. And then we highlighted the dark blue for 4 to 8 plus. We're likely going to adjust that. We're likely going to fine tune different areas, which could see more, could see less, but a general 4 to 8 plus is what we're expecting the dark blue areas. The light blue areas up in the UP, 3 to 6 plus, we're going to adjust that as needed. And then the area we call the zone of uncertainty, the black circle of uncertainty, is right there back in Southeast Michigan. And that's going to really heavily depend on where that low tracks. A further westward track would be a rain solution for Southeast Michigan, and a further east track would be a snow solution for Southeast Michigan. It's really going to depend where that low tracks, is really where that rain snow line is going to mix in. But again, regardless of the rain mixing in, it's still going to be a significant event. You're likely going to have flash freezing conditions Friday evening. The dangers are there. Last thing I'm going to cover the impacts here. Travel is probably going to be impacted because the winds are going to blow blizzard-like conditions and stuff like that. Imagine rural areas with the winds blowing 35, 40 with heavy snow, drifting shut the rural roads likely. Overall travel is going to be impacted heavily Friday evening, especially afternoon, evening, and Saturday morning, especially if these county plows and maybe even some state road, some MDOT plows, they don't stay on top of this. Um, it's going to be a mess, is what I'm trying to say here. And then I believe that's everything that I covered. Joel, Nick, did I miss anything?
I will say that we did probably go really conservative on these totals. I know the models are showing a little bit higher right now, but again, you got to take note that we're still like 3 days, 4 days out, so a lot can change in that time.
Yes. We'd rather start low and work up than start high and work down. We don't want to set the expectation too high. We don't want to hype this up. We don't want to put the 10 to 15 plus out there. We're going to do that as we gain more confidence as we get closer, because historically speaking, these 8 to 12-inch swaths here are very historically the odds really aren't in the favor of this happening, really. So we really want to err on the side of caution when we make these forecasts for you guys. We have Alex joining us now. Hello, Alex. Hello, Nick.
Hello.
Hey guys.
We got 4 of us on here tonight. It's awesome to see. I will say one more thing here while we're on here. The winter storm watches are in effect for a large portion of lower Michigan. The only counties that are not included, we'll go ahead and zoom in here. The only counties that are not included are in far southeast Michigan, Lenawee, Washtenaw, Wayne, Macomb. Is this Lapeer County up here? I want to say Lapeer. And then Livingston, or is this Oakland? I want to say it's Oakland County.
St. Clair.
St.
Lapeer's the one that's left of that.
Okay. So the counties in white here, from Ann Arbor up to Port Huron, are not in a winter storm watch for southeast Michigan. That watch is going to be for 6 inches plus of accumulation, and then not lake effect, but the winds gusting up to 45 miles per hour. And then up here in northern Michigan, the only counties that are not in a watch are from Manistee up towards Petoskey. I do not know the county names up there. I apologize. But the areas there that you see in yellowish, brownish color outside the blue, those areas are not included in that winter storm watch.
I haven't pulled up.
Okay, go ahead.
So the counties that are not included in that watch looks like Sheboygan County, Emmett, Charlevoix, Antrim, Grand Traverse, Leelanau, and Benzie County, if I do believe. And Manistee County. There you go.
All right. So there.
And a point to make too is that this winter storm watch that's in effect is for this storm system itself. This is for your storm that is moving in Friday during the day and going through Saturday. The winter storm watch means that is where the forecast models specifically have the best chance to get 6+ inches of snow, which is criteria. However, by the time this storm system gets going and they do upgrade the watch potentially to a warning, they will surround these watches with winter weather advisories. So just because you may not be in a county that's in a watch right now, doesn't mean that as we get closer and we can kind of fine tune the amounts, that a winter weather advisory may be issued for a county that may not be in a watch right now. And this does not include the lake effect that's behind it. The lake effect may last several days, potentially after Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, as this really, really cold, brutally Arctic air moves in over the Great Lakes.
And to echo what Alex is saying here, when forecasting lake effect snow, this model doesn't do a good job at it, the GFS model, but we can kind of set up and kind of figure out where it could happen. We see this northwest flow here. You see these isobars, or these the little lines here. They're coming out of the northwest heading southeast. That's your wind direction. When we have those northwest to southeast winds for a prolonged period of time over warm lake waters, it just really sets the tone for lake effect snow. If we see that to be the case through the day on Sunday, even into Monday, so we could have multiple days of lake effect snow for the west side and also the UP of Michigan after this event. So keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, that's another big thing. We're going to have this, storm system, dump this amount of snow. And for the people that are watching from southeast Michigan that may not see as much snow, that area of where we are still uncertain given the, slight differences in the track. For the people living in southeast Michigan, just because you may not see as much snow from this system doesn't mean you aren't getting a storm. This storm system, as it moves into the state of Michigan, will bring with it very, very strong winds. So even just a couple of inches of snow can get blown around and reduce visibility and create havoc. And another big, big thing I want to point out for the people in southeast Michigan is that while you'll see rain, as this system moves by, that cold air is going to be coming in pretty rapidly, and we are concerned about the potential of a flash freeze down in southeast Michigan as well. And any rain and slush that develops could freeze as this cold air moves through. Any additional snowfall too that could create travel issues for southeast Michigan as well.
I also want to echo that and say we're not, after this low moves off, we are not going to see above freezing temperatures. We're going to be below 32 for a long time, potentially a week or more. So what is going to be on the ground is likely going to be on the ground for a very long time. And also, one thing I did not cover here is with the winds and also the snow, the potential for power outages does exist across the entire state. Keep that in mind as well, just because these winds 35 45 miles per hour with accumulating snow, and there's just a lot of different things that could knock power out with the system, but mainly going to be the winds. The weight of the snow will probably start a little bit heavier with you can kind of make a snowman out of it, the 10-to-1 ratio we usually call it. But as it transitions into the Friday evening time frame, the snow will get lighter and more fluffier. It's not going to be that heavy, wet type of snow that we got yesterday across central northern Michigan. It's going to be that light, fluffy type primarily.
And that is a good point. The fact that we are going to be seeing the snow start wet and then eventually transition to that powdery type snow. That is a big point, that a lot of that snow that falls wetter, areas that fall in that 4 to 8 range, if you're watching outside of that 8 to 12 plus range, your snow may be wetter a little longer. And with these strong winds that are moving through, that increases the power outage potential. But everyone has that potential to see strong winds with this snow. So visibility reductions, blowing and drifting snow, significant impacts for the major highways as well, not just the rural roads, but even the major highways. The plows are going to have a tough time potentially keeping up with this.
I agree. We got some questions coming in here. What time does it start? The snow is going to start Friday morning between, I'll say, 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. And that's going to be in west, and the further south and west you are, the quicker it's going to start. The further north and east you are, the later it's going to start. Is there any possibility that this 8 to 12 inch swath, Alex, is that going to change at all? Do you think it could shift at all?
There is still a potential that this could shift a little bit. We are not expecting any major shifts. At this point, the track forecast models have been pretty much locked in, which is pretty surprising. We saw with the last system, they were locked in pretty well, which is why we weren't really hyping it up for most of the time, because we knew there was a decent chance that most of us would see rain and rain snow. And then with this system specifically, we saw a little bit different. We saw that bigger chance for snow for a bigger area. So this system is still getting its act together. And even a small deviation in track could make a difference, especially for the areas that are seeing more of a mix, or that 4 to 8. That 8 to 12 area, that's pretty much where I'm thinking locked in. Even a slight shift to the west or east isn't really going to do much to move that 8 to 12 plus area. But any minor shift will affect areas that may see more rain versus less rain, which is why we have that area circled in black, because any slight shift over there can make a big difference in the forecast.
Thank you, Alex. Brian asked for Mount Calm County. Brian, you are in the 8 to 12 zone. What do you think the minimum accumulation for the I-94 between Kalamazoo and Benton Harbor?
Well, as you can see in our map, that area is down in that 8 to 12 area. I would say bare minimum, your floor, you're looking at 8 inches. We are pretty confident in that part of the forecast.
Here's a good question Janice brings up. How much is Macomb County going to get with the rain? For first off, if the rain does mix in as expected, I would expect accumulations will range widely. The further west and north you go, the higher it's going to likely be. The further east you go, the lower it's going to be towards the Canadian border and both the lake area there. I'm going to guess between 1 to 5 inches is going to be the range in that zone if it mixes with rain. I don't expect it to be significant accumulations over there, but I do expect there to be a few areas that will likely accumulate probably 2 to 4 inches after that rain has moved out. If the low does go more south and more east, it will give us more snow in southeast Michigan, Janice. That's correct. If you guys have questions, go ahead and ask them in chat. And also for those of you, for Joel, Nick, Alex, if you guys see that any questions you want to answer, go ahead and pop them up on the screen and go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, 53 new comments.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of comments. So if we do miss your comment, we're sorry. There's 700 people in here watching, so we apologize. We'll try and get to them all, but there's just a lot of you here, so bear with us.
Here's a good question. How many hours of high winds do you estimate?
Yeah, so the strongest winds will be with the passage of that area of low pressure. So we would be looking probably at a decent 6 to 8 hours worth of really, really strong winds that would be coming with that area of low pressure as it moves in. But we will see winds continue after that as really, really cold air does pour in from the northwest. So we are still looking at elevated winds even beyond that period. So, but your strongest winds are going to be about 6 to 8 hours worth of really, really strong winds.
I'm going to try and get those wind gusts pulled up here on the GFS to kind of go over that.
Yeah, I saw another quick question. I lost it in the chat, but it said, what direction are these winds going to come from?
All.
Yeah, so they are going to be shifting generally as that low, and remember lows, as they spin counterclockwise. So as that low is to our south and southwest, winds will be coming out of the southeast initially, and then from the east, and then eventually the northeast, north, and then eventually curling back to the northwest. So really, you're going to be seeing winds coming out of a lot of different directions with that area low pressure passage, since it is moving so close to us.
Here's your map here. The yellows that you see indicate 34 miles per hour. Are these knots or miles per hour? These are knots. 34 knots. So about 35 to 40 miles per hour. This is going to be Friday at 7 p.m. And if we bump this forward a little bit further, we're going to have that low pressure. You can kind of see right there in the middle of the state there over basically Grand Rapids. We can move that even further through this time frame. You go back one. Right about here, and they kind of shift out of the north. So it starts as like southeasterly and then ends northwesterly there. But the winds here overall are going to be right between that 25 to 35 sustained with gusts up to 50 miles per hour likely.
So I saw
Go ahead, Alex.
I was going to say, I just saw another question about the UP. They will be impacted by this. I saw a question saying the UP will not be impacted. They will be impacted by this, not necessarily with the storm system itself, but again, as you saw that low track as it moves through Michigan and out through Lake Huron, winds will become favorable, very favorable for lake enhanced snow, which is why we have those areas of 3 to 6 plus and 4 to 8 plus, especially in the favorable northern and northwesterly snow belts, Marquette East, that will be indirectly impacted by the storm system, and then again also impacted even more by lake effect snow in the days to follow.
I think what's cool about low pressure maps, as a meteorology student, we are taught this is where the isobars come really close together. That's where your strongest winds are going to be. And with a low this deep, again, that's going to be right around, as you can see on the map here, that's going to be right around where the center of the low is at. So all those little black lines are your isobars, and that's like change in pressure in the area.
Eric asks how much snow per hour, like what the rates are going to be. Eric, I'm going to go ahead and go out here and say 1 inch per hour is likely. We could see a bit higher in some places, but the overall, the heaviest swath there, I'm going to guess 1 inch per hour is going to be your pretty much the average you're going to see. Alex, you can correct me if I'm wrong with that.
Generally speaking, we're looking at about 1 inch per hour rates. Could be maybe a little higher, up to 1.5 inches, and some of the banding features that we may see with this, but that's looking about right.
Thank you, Alex. Shannon asked the projected snowfall between Kazoo and Battle Creek. You're going to be in that zone of 8 to 12. The further east you go, the more likely it is to get lesser amounts. But Kalamazoo, especially, I think the edge of Battle Creek there in Calhoun County is going to be in the 8 to 12 zone. If you're in eastern Calhoun County, closer towards what county is that? Is that Jackson County over there, or is that what county is between Calhoun and Jackson County? What county is that?
It's just it's Kalamazoo, Calhoun, Jackson.
Okay, so if you're closer to Jackson County, you're likely going to be in that 4 to 8 zone. I thought there was a county between there. Must have been wrong. My bad. No. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is our confidence on snowfall?
Right now, I would say we're about a solid 8, and that's just due to any slight shifts in that low track for southeast Michigan. And I would say 8 to even 9. And while I'm talking,
did we lose him?
I think we lost him.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. I would say 8 to 9, and I've been while other guys have been talking, I've been looking at the latest forecast model run that is just coming in from the European model that's run 4 times a day. Our latest run is just coming in now, so taking a look at that right now, it's just confirming our confidence still as each model run comes in.
That's good to hear.
Do we want to talk about travel, like Thursday night into Friday and then Friday night into Saturday?
Yeah, I can cover that a little bit.
We should cover Thursday briefly first because of lake effect snow. Just thought about that. I know it's a little off topic.
Yeah, there is going to be a period here of lake effect snow tomorrow, but it's not going to be as significant as this upcoming system. We're looking at mainly 1 to 2 inches across most of the state. If some areas closer to Lake Michigan may get a few more inches than that, but overall thinking is going to be right between that 1 to 2 inch range. If you can see here towards the Grand Rapids area here, this is tomorrow. Tomorrow, or should I say late tonight into early tomorrow into the afternoon hours, looking at 1 to 2 inches here across the state. So that's first, and then travel shouldn't be too badly impacted by that. But if we go into this upcoming weekend system here, snow will start Friday morning / afternoon, depending on where you're at in the state. Expect the afternoon commute. If you're in Southwest Michigan, the afternoon commute will likely be okay. If this speeds up a little bit in timing, then that will change. But right now, I think the afternoon commute Friday will be okay. The evening commute closer to that 4 or 5 o'clock range is where I start having concerns with that. And then from then on, it just deteriorates quickly into the Friday evening, Friday night, and then Saturday morning, and even Saturday afternoon, really. That'd be pretty bad in terms of travel impacts. Drifting shut of roads, whiteout conditions, With the flash freeze in southeast Michigan, some ice underneath the snow is going to be likely. So that take consideration there. You think it might be snow, all snow. There's likely going to be a layer of ice underneath that snow. But overall, the worst of the impacts will be between Friday afternoon and then Saturday afternoon.
I was going to answer a question really quick.
Go for it.
So Victoria asked, Noego's split between 4 and 8 and 8 and 12. Is there a line of where? Again, right now, it's not really like a sharp cutoff. It's just kind of like our general, like you kind of got to imagine that 4 to 8 and 8 to 12, it's like the same thing. You could have as low as 4 or as high as 12. So you basically have a larger range of values to work with that. So there you go.
Is a bomb cyclone likely, Alex? First off, explain what a bomb cyclone is and what you think is going to happen with that.
So bomb cyclone is what we call bombogenesis, and it's another term that we have in our weather glossary, and it's another form of cyclogenesis. And what that is when an area low pressure develops and deepens. Bombogenesis is basically a drop in pressure of 24 millibars in 24 hours, or a millibar per hour, and that is considered bombogenesis. Now, from what I'm seeing, at least on the forecast models, this area of low pressure will deepen significantly, but it's not going to deepen so rapidly that we'd consider this bombogenesis necessarily, or a bomb cyclone. But this is still, it doesn't take away from the fact that there's still going to be a significant cyclone, a mature mid-latitude cyclone. It's just, I don't think we'll meet the definition of bombogenesis necessarily.
All right. Thank you, Alex. I see a couple more questions here. I need to catch back up with chat. But I see some questions here for Lenawee, Ann Arbor. I see some questions for travel from Ypsi to Jackson here. So Lenawee County, Washtenaw County, Wayne County, Monroe County, all the people watching here. You guys are going to be in the area where it's going to transition to rain briefly. That brief period of rain is going to impact total accumulations as well. So your snow accumulations will likely be less than 4 to 8, maybe between 1 and 5 inches for you guys in that gray zone over there. But expect impacts to be equal with the wind and also the flash freeze potential for Friday evening. Just don't expect much in the way of significant snowfall accumulations, but do expect a few inches though. Somebody asked, traveling from Ypsi to Jackson. When you get over to Jackson, you're going to be driving into the heavier snow. But Ypsilanti is going to be on that line between that rain and snow mix. So we'll have to kind of play it by ear with that. It's kind of on the line. I don't want to give you an answer for that just because it could shift either way from now until the event happens. So.
I'm seeing questions if blizzard warning is possible.
Yes, I think so personally. NWS offices issue those. They typically are pretty hesitant to do so. But looking at the criteria of a blizzard, I believe it's 35 miles per hour sustained over is it a 3-hour period, Alex? Do you know that offhand?
I think it is 3 hours.
I think it is 3 hours. I'm going to go and look this up to confirm. But a blizzard has nothing to do with the amount of snow that falls. Keep that in mind. The blizzard criteria is sustained or frequent winds of 35 miles per hour or higher with considerable falling and or blowing snow that frequently reduces visibility to 1/4 of a mile or less. Given that criteria, I do think we're going to meet the blizzard criteria. I do think we're going to meet it for a long period of time, but whether they issue it will be their decision. We don't have any say over that. But regardless, if blizzard warnings get issued, it doesn't take away the fact from this being a significant storm that's going to impact you in some way, shape, or form. So keep that in mind. And I'd say the question for blizzard warnings, I think they're going to be issued. We're not in control of that, though.
I would say at the least a winter storm warning, at least somewhere in the state.
I mean, I think
that's pretty
much a given at this point.
You never know. They could be conservative.
Kyle says he misses the days of blizzard watch, and he And
Yeah, that was decommissioned in 2017.
I'm not sure why they did that though. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I guess I understand why with the confidence issues that far out, but like it could be used. All right, some more questions. Muskegon, you're going to be in the 8 to 12 zone, correct?
Muskegon City is right on the line between 8 to 12 and 4 to 8, but the whole county, again, it's kind of split right there.
Okay.
And those lines aren't definite. It's going to be, they're blurred a little bit. You're going to see, you could see, 4 to 12 in that area there.
Right. It's going to depend on final shifting and stuff like that. But overall, you're going to be in the heaviest accumulation more than likely for you guys over there. Whitmore Lake, you're going to be on that line again between rain and snow, but still the impacts from this are going to be felt no matter if it's going to rain for a little bit or not. The rain for everybody in that gray area is not going to last long, but it will cut into your snow totals. What are the chances of Branch County seeing 8 to 12? So Branch County, right now, I'm going to lean more towards the lesser side of that 8 to 12. I'm going to say probably 4 to 8 for you guys. The chances, I'm going to say it's possible if we have a big enough shift, but again, I'm not really expecting much in the way of shifting, like Alex said earlier, for the 8 to 12 zone. So I'm going to guess you're going to be right in that 4 to 8, maybe 5 to 10, depending on if we're going to raise totals a little bit. But I think you're going to still see significant snowfall over there. Is there a time or day that you stay off the road? Friday night would be probably the Friday night, Saturday morning, probably the biggest answers there. Friday night especially is going to be the worst of it, I think.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but even on the western side of Michigan, it's going to be even earlier than that.
We go back here to hour by hour. We can go back hour by hour and look at this. But the heaviest snow here does fall early evening, mid-afternoon, late afternoon, right around the 4 o'clock onward, basically. So yeah, starting about 4 o'clock Friday, I'd say stay off the roads, if at all possible.
So if you can get out of work early, try to get out of work early.
If you run a business with employees, consider letting them off early. That'd be very helpful.
A lot of people are going to be traveling for that Lions game this weekend, too.
Yeah, that's true. We can't have anything nice in Detroit, you know? We can't have a playoff game and can't have a home playoff game without a blizzard. Like, come on, guys. What about Lansing? Lansing is going to be firmly right now. We think it's going to be snow for you guys, all snow. 4 to 8 plus inches is likely. Although if we have a further west shift, you may sneak into some rain there late Friday evening. That could lower your accumulation some. We'll kind of have to play that by ear, but Lansing should be mostly snow given the model guidance we currently have. Alec, the only way the gray zone gets bumped higher is with an eastward shift of the storm track. And right now, I don't think it's going to shift too significantly to put that higher amount over in the gray area. Yes, winds are going to gust between 25, or should I say sustain 25, 35 miles per hour. Gusts are likely going to reach up to 50 miles per hour. Sometimes Nathan asks if we get screwed in Southeast Michigan because of Lake Erie. Sometimes because warmer air gets driven in from Lake Erie from the southeast, that does affect some areas closer to lake shores. Overall, with this system, though, I don't see the possibility of that happening because this air is much cooler than the last system that we had. If we go back to the last system, we had a 2 to 4 forecast for Southeast Michigan that didn't get much anything because of that situation where Lake Erie was pumping in too much warm air to the region there, or for the local area, should I say. But with this setup, it should be a little bit different. We have a lot of cold air.
A lot of people asking about Hillsdale, especially.
Hillsdale County, right there, you're going to be firmly right now in that blue zone, which is going to be 4 to 8 inches plus. You are at a little bit higher elevation. That's going to help you out as well. But overall, if rain does, or should I say, if that low does track a little bit further west, that rain mix area will probably shift a little bit further west into Hillsdale County. But right now, Hillsdale, we kind of have you in a snow area for right now.
Yeah, I want to say that if we will be making a revised snowfall map for tomorrow. We'll be going over more data tonight with what we call our 00Z runs, or the runs that come out between 8 p.m. and midnight with our forecast models. If we see any shifts, we will update you guys tomorrow. But the main changes, if we are going to make any, are going to be for the east side of the state. We are pretty locked in for the west side of the state. I don't see that area changing.
For tonight, Suzanne, for tonight into tomorrow morning, lake effect snow and just some light snow showers for you guys over there. Don't expect much in the way of accumulation with that at all. If you're on the west side of Michigan, closer to Lake Michigan, 1 to 2 inches is possible, but that's about it.
Joey asks, "Is there a chance for thunder snow?"
That'd be a question for Alex.
Right now, the chance of thunder snow looks relatively lower, but I wouldn't rule it out right now. Just given the depth of the area low pressure, may have more banded features with it as it comes in. So any heavier snow in those bands could potentially see maybe. As Ryan's going through the forecast model there, you can see some of the heavier bands. There's an outside chance there could be some thunder snow, but as of right now, it's not the best chance. Thunder snow is very, very rare to have happen.
Not expecting it, but it's a possibility that we wouldn't be shocked if we saw. Usually with thunder snow as well, as Alex was saying, the initial band is called frontogenesis. That band is usually what produces that. Am I correct with that, Alex?
Yes.
Okay. Olivia asks, will the area labeled as mix include ice?
No, we're not really looking much in the way of freezing rain potential in that mix area, just because there is not much in the way of a feed of cooler or dry air coming in from the east, like we would sometimes see with a mixed precipitation or an ice storm type of event. There's not really much in the way for that. It's going to be a pretty warm column all the way down. If you are in the rain transitioning, the column will cool completely down pretty quickly as the storm ramps up and deepens. So no real chance for freezing rain here.
I do want to add with that. With that rain, though, that we're going to see mixing in, there is potential that we could see the rain that has fallen already as pure rain freeze on the surfaces when the colder air does come in. That will create some icy conditions, but overall, the freezing rain, as Alex said, not a possibility. Just want to clarify that.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Peyton asks, will this storm continue to strengthen as it moves towards us?
Yeah, so the system itself, that area low pressure as it develops down in Oklahoma, Arkansas, and we'll start out probably as a weaker area of low pressure, but then as it races northeast towards us, it will continue to deepen and continue to deepen as it passes us in Michigan. before finally filling out as it moves into Canada over that several day period. So, yes, it will be deepening as it moves towards us and through us.
All right, has some more questions here. Are these totals that we're showing for the whole weekend or just Friday? That Carla, that's going to be just for Friday and Saturday morning. We're not including lake effect on this map just because we don't have enough confidence to issue maps with that. Caroline asking for Flint, Grand Blanc, however you pronounce it. Husband works third shift Friday night and Saturday morning. That's going to be in the thick of it. You're probably going to get the heaviest snow between that time frame. So his drive home is likely going to be a little bit treacherous there.
Here's another one. Power outage possible?
Yes.
Definitely.
I would actually say power outages across the state would be likely. I'm not going to say widespread, but I do think we're going to see quite a few of those across the state given the high winds and snow. And also keep in mind with that as well, we're not going to go above freezing for quite a while after the system. So what you see on the ground is likely going to be there for a while. So if we lose power, it's going to get cold starting Sunday.
Do we want to go over some of those temperatures or?
Sure. If you go ahead and it's pretty simple, just go ahead and click on temperature graph here on the GFS. Run this through. Now these are your temperatures. Again, pink and blues are a little bit cooler right now in Michigan. For the system, they're going to be right around that 27 to 30 degree mark here. But watch this cold air off to the west. After the system moves off, we see the low pressure there over Ontario over here, moving off. Behind it, a bunch of cold air comes rushing in behind it. And that's going to fill in here. And bam, there's Michigan in pretty cool air. We're going to have temperatures as highs in the teens. We're going to see lows in single digits. And the wind chills are likely going to be -10 or so, maybe even lower throughout this period. There's probably going to be about 3 to 4, maybe 5-day period. We're going to see those types of temperatures repeat. But it should gradually improve as we get closer to next weekend into next week. We're talking like January 20th, 21st, and after. We're still seeing this pattern here. So keep in mind, it's going to be cold for quite a while.
Jennifer asked, so this could be a bust like the last storm? I don't think it was. I mean, I know for Southeast Michigan, you guys were severely disappointed, especially with the snow. And this time around, it could be the same thing, especially if you're like in the Monroe County area. But for the rest of the state, this last storm really wasn't a bust, and this next storm certainly won't be a bust either. But again, it's all opinionated. If you want, 7 to 12 inches or just like a light dusting.
Yeah, I was going to say this last storm on the west side of the state, at least, and especially up towards the Grand Rapids area north, received half a foot of snow. And some areas, I think, topped out 7-8 inches of snow with this last storm. So with the heavier wet nature of it too, it caused a lot of issues, a lot of school closings, a lot of accidents, and a few power outages up there as well. So definitely wasn't a bust. I know here down in Kalamazoo, we had a lot of snow early on Tuesday morning before flipping over to rain in the afternoon and then switching back to snow in the evening. So we didn't get as much snow, but it was still a decent system. I know on the east side of the state, it's hard to see a type of storm system like this for you to be sitting in Detroit or Monroe or, anywhere in Southeast Michigan that's in that gray zone and say, well, man, this is definitely busting out from what we've been hearing. But again, for folks in the rest of the state, for like Kalamazoo or Grand Rapids, who are going to see possibly well over a foot of snow, this definitely won't bust by any means.
Mount Pleasant, you're in the 8 to 12 range right now. I know we don't really have many cities labeled on this map, but if you guys know where your county is on the map, that does help cut down on some of the questions.
what is the timing for Southeast Michigan on Friday? So snow is going to begin likely in we'll go ahead and say right around 12 p.m. noon Friday. And then as we get into the evening, snow will pick up in intensity. Friday night, a changeover to rain is likely right now around that 11 p.m. time frame, give or take a few hours. And then after that, in the overnight hours, it's going to switch back over to snow, and it'll remain snow from then on forward. Jackson County, April is closer to the 4 to 8 zone. Troy, you're going to go ahead.
I saw a question from YouTube. Do you use both the GFS and the European model?
Yes,
and the answer is yes.
Yes, we do.
Simple answer, but yeah.
And then some.
Yeah, and then some use the Icon, the Gem. We can go on for days with models we can use. The two most trusted, though, I will say, are the GFS and the Euro. Carrie asks, are any of us situated on the east or on the west side of the state?
I am.
I think everybody on here is on the west side except me.
I'm in central. I mean, I'm up
I
in
guess.
Mount Pleasant, so
Right. So
I'm the furthest north.
Joel's in Mount Pleasant. Nick is in Grand Rapids. Alex is more so toward Kalamazoo. Chandler's down there towards Kalamazoo as well, and I'm more towards Detroit.
And for those who are not tuned in at the beginning, again, this graphic is still like really conservative. Again, we're 3 to 4 days out still, so these totals will probably increase. We can't say with confidence that they will, but as of right now, they will probably increase, especially if you're in like the 8 to 12 range right now. Hi, Gabe.
Ann Arbor, getting a lot of questions for you guys there. Ann Arbor is going to be on that line between all snow and perhaps some rain mixing in. I go ahead and say for Ann Arbor, you're going to have some rain mixing in there. Likely going to have right around 1 to 5 inches of accumulation when it's all said and done with that. Yes, Marissa, Hillsdale's in the 4 to 8 for right now. If you are close to that gray and blue line in Southeast Michigan, that is likely going to shift either one way or the other in future outlooks. So if you're close to that line, check back with our page tomorrow evening. We'll go live again tomorrow evening to go over this, and likely going to go live again on Friday morning to cover any updates. We might be streaming through this event too for those of you who want to watch some live coverage. We're going to try and have some chasers out and about. So we're likely going to be live on during the day on Friday as well, covering heaviest snow bands, live conditions, and stuff like that. So
now, Alex pointed out it's 2 days out, so the totals will definitely change over the next day or two.
Right.
I can't believe it's almost the weekend already.
Time is flying.
Yep.
And yeah, like we said, we have seen our forecast models really lock in on the track of this low. Right now, when we're looking at updates on our forecast models, at this point, they're minuscule shifts that aren't really changing the outlook, except for maybe people on the east side of the state. I would almost say that if you live along and west of US, 127 I-69, you're at this point almost completely locked into just an almost snow kind of thing. So right there on 69 or US 127, where that goes through Lansing, anywhere along and east of there, you still have some concerns of rain mixing in with lower totals, and that's the biggest point where we're going to be figuring out that area that we circled in black. That area where that could mix in with rain is our lowest confidence in this forecast. Everywhere else west of that black line, we are pretty darn confident that this is not going to change, and that our map won't change.
That waxing crescent moon has Nick feeling some sort of way.
I was requested to put this on.
Nice. For those who haven't
Go
seen
Lions.
the tweet, yeah, for those who haven't seen the tweet, not to jinx it or anything, but the last time the Lions won the playoff game, the moon was in a waxing crescent, and it will be in a waxing crescent again this Sunday.
Superstitious, but I like it.
The moon already screwed us over one time.
So I'm gonna say we didn't believe it at Thanksgiving, but here we are. Now we really trust the moon.
If you guys haven't already, go ahead and hit the like button on the stream. We would appreciate that. It helps get the algorithm in our favor and reach more people with life-saving information. So if you would hit the like button if you haven't already, please do so. Yes, go Lions, Gary.
My friend Tanner's in here. Is that the GOAT Commissioner Joel? I run the fantasy football league up here at Central Michigan, so I'm called the commissioner. Yes, that is me.
I know I stepped away for a second. But I saw another question here. Let me know if you answered it already. It is should the thumb expect lake effect?
So you're
go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, no, you're good. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like really close, like right along the immediate lake shore. I mean, there's not much of a. I mean, I guess you could say there's a little bit of a lake effect influence right there, especially with the bay. But
I would more call it enhance as that area low pressure moves through initially, but eventually the winds will shift more west, northwest, and west, which will kind of take. If you call the bay, you'll have that, influence a little bit like Joel said, but.
I have a question here from Michelle asking if South Kalamazoo near Vicksburg is expecting 8 to 12 or more. The answer is yes. You are going to be in that zone there of 8 to 12. And Macomb County right now is expected to be mixed, yes, but still in that gray area. I think accumulations are going to range between 1 inch and 5 inches, depending on where you're at. We didn't put accumulations there yet just because our confidence isn't very high, but we still expect accumulation in that gray zone, even with rain. Brian says he works for a power company and they have put mandatory coverage starting Friday at 2 p.m. They're saying the wind and snow will be the worst since the storm in 1995 that crippled the UP. Not sure about the comparison there, but I would definitely suggest power companies should be on alert for this storm for sure.
Mm-hmm.
He also says that they're bringing in 2,000 linemen from other states. So that's pretty big, if that's true.
Not surprised with that.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the state doesn't have buried wires. That does make sense. I know my house loses power at least 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah, I think up in White Cloud area, they still don't have power in some neighborhoods.
For the storm yesterday, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. We'll try for you, Eve. She wants just snow in Hillsdale County. We are going to do our best to get you the snow. But you are close to that line, though, so don't be shocked if that shifts a little bit further to the west there and you get some rain there. But right now, we're expecting mainly snow.
I personally want all the snow.
Agreed.
Well, Nick, you're in that 8 to 12 zone, so
I am so excited for it.
As am I.
I think that the only one on MSC staff who's not in the 8 to 12 zone is me. I'm in that mixed zone. I'm not happy about it, but I'll take it, I guess.
Victoria asked, are you guys all meteorologists or just a hobby? You guys can learn about us more on michiganstormchasers.com, but for me, I think I'm the closest. Well, yeah, I am the only one going for a meteorology degree right now, and I am about a semester and a half away, so I'll have a degree at the end of, or at the start of, midway through 2025, hopefully, if all things go well. I know Alex went to CMU for a meteorology degree as well. So
round of applause for Joel finishing his meteorologist degree.
It's tough.
Woo!
Very tough. A lot of math there.
Yeah. If you ever heard of Calc 1 through Calc 4, that's what I had to get through. People think it's an easy degree. No.
Let's see here. No small Nick.
What?
Comment for you there.
Oh boy. No snowmobiling? I'm still gonna snowmobile to your house one of these days. He was the one who requested I put on the Lions jersey.
Love to see it. How much do you think for Empire? I gotta figure out where Empire is. That is one area I do not know. Oh, you're way up there. Okay, you're going to be mainly in the 4 to 8 zone. Cheryl, if there's flooding up there in Dearborn, Livonia still, hopefully it's cleared out by the time the below freezing temperatures get here, which it should. It has 48 hours until we start dipping below zero, so it should be drained by then. Howell, yes, 4 to 8. 4 on the low end, 8 on the high end, and that could change. We'll likely adjust these numbers as we get more confidence. Again, Joel's mentioned this a few times, but these numbers are kind of conservative. Some of these models right now have not changed or not budged off a little bit higher accumulation, so we'll likely have to update our accumulation map here tomorrow and into Friday as well for final adjustments. But a good first call would be the map you're looking at on your screen. Anna driving a school bus on a field trip from Friday from Macomb County to Lansing. Okay, so two-part question here. Number one being the first part of your drive, assuming this is going to be morning into early afternoon, you should be clear for the first part of that drive. Your drive back, if you're driving around or after the 12 p.m. noon time frame, it might get a little
dicey.
Hopefully the snow and rain will hold off you on the east side there, which it could hold off. It might very well hold off until after you get back. But if this speeds up at all, I'd be concerned for your drive back, especially. I'd say pay attention to the hour by hour forecast here in the coming days here. I am behind on comments still. Holy smokes. You guys are blowing the chat up. Love to see it.
Plenty to talk about.
There is plenty to talk about. We'll be live again tomorrow. At least I will be live again. Nick, Joel, Alex, all welcome to join if you guys would like. This was a little bit of an introduction to what we're kind of looking at. We'll start nailing down, I think, more specifics, although we've nailed pretty much all specifics that we need to right now. But as far as refinements, I should say, of timing and then different snowfall accumulations and stuff like that, we'll adjust that into tomorrow, and we'll have another stream to go over all the changes we've made, if any need to be made at all. So anybody have any more questions here? We've been on for about an hour or so. Probably look to hop off here pretty soon. Again, if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button. If you're heading out, hit the thumbs up button, please, before you do. It helps us out greatly. We would appreciate it. How soon is it going to fall in Allegan County on Friday? Expect snow over on the west and south side there as early as 10 a.m. It might start earlier. It's going to depend on final refinements. Some of these models are a little quicker than others, but I think right around the 8 to 10 a.m. time frame for you guys would be a good guess. We'll adjust that. We'll probably have a map as well for when we're going to expect impacts, but that'll probably come either tomorrow night, tomorrow afternoon-ish, or maybe even Friday there, early Friday morning. But we'll have a timing impact map out here for this event. Just watch for that on the page.
Vicky, you're going to be in that 8 to 12 inches snow range for the Byron Center, Caledonia area.
What time are the winds going to start blowing? So the winds are going to be blowing for a large portion of this event, starting as early as the Friday afternoon time frame. The heaviest of the winds are likely going to be Friday night into early Saturday morning, though, for a majority of the state. And then those are going to gust up to 50 miles per hour. Sustained winds right around 30 miles per hour are likely, though.
Michelle is commuting from Jackson to Greenville Friday night, and that does not sound like it would be a fun time.
It is not going to be a fun time. This is one of the situations here. I'm going to say this. It's a reckless to kind of say this, but it's true. If you guys can at all stay off the roads Friday night, please do so. This is not a situation that you do not want to be in. Winds are going to be blowing hard. We're going to have whiteout conditions. We're going to have blizzard-like conditions. The roads are going to be a mess, more than likely, assuming MDOT and county does not stay on top of all these roads that we have in our state. It's likely going to be a very treacherous and dangerous evening for travel on the road. So if you can stay home Friday afternoon and evening, please do so. Don't use that warning we don't use that wording very often, but it holds very true with the situation.
Yeah, and if you do have to, make sure your car is stocked with extra. If you do get stuck, you'll have like extra coats, blankets. If you're waiting for somebody to come get you, stuff like that, snacks, water.
Right. Be smart about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, we do have a post out there. I think we pinned it, and if we haven't pinned it, we'll pin it to the top of our Facebook page for what to have inside of your vehicle if you do need to travel. I also do recommend carrying a collapsible snow shovel. I think I got one from Meyer last year for like $10-15. It folds up nice and compact, so you can keep it in that smaller vehicle in case you do get stuck.
I just pinned that post for those of you who want to know about it. It's on our first. If you go to our homepage on Facebook and you go scroll down just a bit, it'll be in the featured and it'll be the first post there. A few things, Nick. Go ahead and list some of these things. It's flashlight, mittens, hats, blankets, water, snacks, cell phone charger, first aid kit, jumper cable, spare tire. Full tank of gas is important. If you get stuck on the roadways, if you're on E or less than a quarter tank, you're going to be stuck there for a while and pretty windy and cold conditions. So make sure you have a full tank of gas before you travel in case something happens. Optional sand and kitty litter in case you get stuck. It'll help you get traction. A tow rope. And then, if I hadn't said it already, a snow shovel or brush. I think Nick touched on that. But that is what is covered on that graphic. For those of you who want to stock your cars, it's a good idea to have. Livonia, you're going to be in the area of the mix for right now. It's going to be snow initially, changing to rain for a few hours Friday evening late, and then back to snow. 1 to 5 inches of accumulation is going to be likely in that gray zone. Pontiac area is going to be the same. It's closer to that rain snow line there, but likely going to see some rain mixing in for you guys in Pontiac. But again, it's going to start as snow Friday afternoon. It's going to turn to rain late Friday night, back to snow Saturday morning. And again, 1 to 5 inches of accumulation is likely.
Brianna Lakeview, I believe, if it's the one I'm thinking of. There's probably only one Lakeview in Michigan, but I believe that's in the 8 to 12 plus range.
Yeah.
Montcalm County.
Yeah.
Being Michigan, though, I wouldn't be surprised if there's several Lakeviews or something of the sort, or
I know it.
Variations of it. We have
like township names and stuff like that.
Right. All right, guys. Any other questions here? Tecumseh is going to be rain mixing in late Friday night, but it's going to start as snow and end as snow. Again, 1 to 5 inches of accumulation there, definitely possible for areas in gray, but not going to be significant right now with current model trends. What we're kind of thinking, we're not going to have significant snow in that gray zone unless you consider 5 inches significant. It's possible we could see that, but overall, we're going to stay mainly in that 1 to 5 zone for the gray area.
Could the amounts in pink go up? Definitely. Again, we've said this a couple times in the stream that we did go conservative with this forecast, but with the extra model runs that we get overnight tonight and in tomorrow, these values will probably go up, if not most definitely, especially in the pink zone.
It's possible. Tina asks if we can get 4 to 8 in Pontiac. It's possible with a further east low track. Again, we're going to make further adjustments to that area tomorrow after tonight's models come out and tomorrow morning's models come out. We'll have an update probably early to mid-afternoon, right around that 3 p.m. time frame like we did today. So expect an update. If anything is changing, we will change it and we will let you guys know tomorrow. But yeah, it's possible Pontiac could see that change, but it's going to take a eastward shift here, which is possible. Mary Beth, yes, that's true. Ann Arbor's on the border there. It could go either way, but I'm going to go ahead and take a stab at it and say you're likely going to have rain mixing in there. But again, 1 to 5 inches of accumulation of snow is possible, and that includes before the rain falls and after the rain falls. It's going to go snow, back to rain, and then ending in snow. When will Lansing get the heaviest snowfall? I'm going to say 4 p.m. starting around 4 p.m. Friday. Yes, Bob, the cold is coming after the storm. We're going to likely have our coldest air of the season, likely. Highs in the teens, lows in the single digits, wind chills below 0 after the storm. That starts on Sunday evening, and it'll last pretty much all week.
I saw Cassandra has to head to Indy or Indianapolis, I'm assuming, Friday evening. Should you reconsider your plans? Depends on where you're coming from, I guess. If it's from anywhere in the 8 to 12 inch plus range that we have there, might be a good idea to reconsider.
Let's say, or head out early.
Give yourself plenty of extra time.
Yeah, I know one of my friends is planning on going down to Detroit from this side of the state, or West Michigan, I should say, Friday or Saturday, and I'm like, you might as well go early.
Will travel be all right Friday night in Pontiac? Probably. I guess that's a good question.
It's gonna be right in that mixed range, and
yeah,
Friday. You said Friday night.
Yeah,
I'd say it's gonna be well underway by then. Very sloppy at the least.
Yeah, that's gonna be the most. That slush is gonna be there, and then when those temperatures drops, that slush could freeze.
And again, this is like a 2-day event, so like even on Saturdays is not like the best time to travel. So like Saturday morning, you'll still be feeling the impacts, and then crews will start to be able to clean up the roads, probably by midday Saturday, maybe even later on Saturday too. And that'll also hinder getting power back on too, because crews got to travel in these conditions. So again, be patient with your Consumers Energy, DTE, and companies like that. As they go to restore your power this weekend, for those who will end up getting power outages due to the 35 sustained winds, 35 mile per hour.
Yeah, I did pop on to the consumers outage map and also the Great Lakes Energy outage map, and there are a few handfuls in the more rural areas over on Western Michigan as of right now. Hopefully they can get power back before this hits, because if they lose power again, it could be a little while before they can get that back on.
Usually they do it by priority, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Jasmine, 1 to 5 inches of accumulation for the gray zone, which is Monroe County as well. Yes, the winds will affect the entire state, not just particular areas. It's going to affect the entire state. Oh, we have Chandler here with us.
You finally
What's
got it.
up? No, I jumped in on my phone. I can't get it to work on my computer, so I was like, screw it, we'll jump in on my phone.
How many Oscars does the storm award, Chandler?
That is a loaded question. I would say at least 5,
Oh,
maybe
boy.
6.
Oh boy.
I know.
For those of you who are not familiar, Chandler's cats always seem to go wild on these live streams, and Oscar is one of his cats. So there's a running joke here at MSC of Oscar, Otis. That's all your cats. You have a third cat, Chandler? Or you just have Oscar and Otis?
No, just 2. Oscar and Otis.
That's what I thought.
Otis is chilling out for once up there. I don't expect that to last long.
We'll see about that.
And the chair behind me is shaking, so that means I think Oscar's probably giving himself the old lickies.
Love to
If
see
I
it.
had to guess.
What are the temps for Benton Harbor Friday and Saturday? So Friday, Saturday, right around that 30-degree mark for both days. And then Sunday is a day it turns cold.
Did we talk about the potential for power outages?
Yes.
Make sure y'all are prepared. Have stuff in your fridge, stuff you can cook like on a grill without having electricity.
Beer would be good.
I saw that. Yeah.
Stock up on beer.
Especially for that Lions game. Even though it's not during the snow event.
I will be at the Lions game, so I will let y'all know how it is.
Nice.
I'm very excited for you to be there. It's going to be awesome.
It is going to be insane. Otis, calm down, bud.
Flying out of DTW Sunday morning, that shouldn't be an issue.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Yes, large potential for snow drifting over roadways and in farming areas especially.
We have a worker for DT in chat, Brandy. Come on, Storm. Wait a second. You're a DT worker. You want this to happen?
Extra pay.
That's true.
Overtime pay.
Yeah, I guess.
Got to get that overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Ashley, these are the final numbers for Friday and Saturday morning. This does not include lake effect. We're going to have a separate map for lake effect probably coming out during the day on Friday or even on Saturday, because what happens is these long to midterm models don't really forecast lake effect very well. The short-term models will have a better handle on lake effect as we get into tomorrow and into Saturday morning. So we'll have a better idea. Additional accumulations are possible in the western side of Michigan and also in the UP, but we're not going to know where and how much until probably at the earliest tomorrow afternoon or evening.
Did anybody respond to Dan Felton's comment? It said something about his phone app had him for 6 to 10 in Lapeer area, and we have him for not much. Anybody see that?
I did
I
not.
see it now.
I did
Here,
not
I'll
see that.
put it on there.
So Lapeer County, you're going to be on that zone of 4 to 8 and also mix. Your phone app is based off model algorithms and stuff like that. And some of these models are not accounting for much in the way of rain mixing in, where we think there's going to be more than rain mixing in. So our totals for you are going to be less for right now. We could see an eastward shift that could bump you up to 6 to 10. I doubt that happens. I think you're going to be mainly between that 1 to 5 range. If you are closer to that blue zone, you are likely going to be a little bit higher than areas closer to the Canadian border and both lakes there. But for Lapeer, it could go either way for you, but I'm going to lean more towards rain cutting into your totals.
Secret about phone apps is a lot of them only actually use one model.
Right. So if that one model is way off, those predictions are going to change. That's also why you see them change so often, because every time that model's ran, it's put back into those those weather apps, and that's going to change your forecast. It could shift significantly, which is typically not what you want to see when you forecast weather. So. What about Lenawee County? Lenawee County, you're going to be mainly in that mixed area there. Again, 1 to 5 inches of snow accumulation. Even with the rain mixing in, it's going to end as snow. It's going to start as snow, end as snow, but there's going to be a brief period in the middle where it's going to rain for about 3 hours or so. And then we're going to have cool air rush back in. It's going to turn back over to snow. And again, it's going to end as snow. So 1 to 5 inches. We're just not really sure exactly if it's going to be the low end of things or the high end of things. We have to wait and kind of adjust that as needed.
Southwest Michigan headed to the store tomorrow for bread, toilet paper, and wine. That's really it right there. That's all the
There you go.
essentials.
Way to go, Linda. Love to see it.
That's where Brittany and I just were, my fiance. We just got back from the store. There's not a lot of people there, so I got everything I wanted. I got all my firewood inside. I've got sticks and stuff inside, so hopefully I don't have to use too much of it, but it's there for me.
Saw a comment from James, working for Consumers Energy over in Tawas. Doing their best to get everybody back on.
Appreciate your hard work, James.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these companies go under scrutiny when they have events like this, with power being out for 24, 48 plus hours. These workers are doing their best, guys. I mean, they're working around the clock to get your power back on. So be patient with them. They're working on it. There's only so many people who are in that field of work who can do that work safely. So salute to them.
Mm-hmm.
Snow will start, Katie, in Pontiac around Friday. We'll say probably closer to 1 p.m. for you up there. Give or take a few hours, depending on how this trends quicker, trends slower. We have to kind of adjust that as we get closer. Cheryl, this event will end for Southeast Michigan. The main snow will move out Saturday morning, but then lake effect is possible, which could reach over to Southeast Michigan. But the bulk of this is going to fall between Friday afternoon and Saturday morning for you. So after that, it should gradually get better. Michael, or if we're expecting the mixed area to move east or west, it's possible we're going to have further shifting. And in fact, I'm going to say it's likely we're going to have further shifting of that rain snow mix area. We're just not going to be too specific with that area just yet. The general area consensus is that line you see right there, the eastern part of the Michigan. It could definitely shift. So pay attention to our page tomorrow for updates.
We got Ben in here wondering about the lakeshore with high wave activity, also the chance of thunder snow.
I can answer that if you want me to.
Go for it.
So what I actually just learned in dynamics, I think it was literally just the end of last semester, is because the lakes are so flat, there's a lot less resistance and a lot less friction. So that air is allowed to travel more freely and without interruptions. So definitely higher wind gusts than you would see inland. So I would say the gales will be very high this weekend, especially Saturday morning.
I believe I saw a post on Twitter saying waves up to 15 feet.
Yep.
And that was yesterday.
15?
15, yes.
I saw 13 earlier, but wow.
Yeah, so
Understand.
around roughly that wave height. So still significant no matter if it's 13 or 15. That's still significant.
Are they predicting straight west winds?
All right, let's go over winds one more time here. Go back to the model. So winds are going to start. Let's go ahead and put it on this. So winds are going to start Friday morning out of the south. They're going to change to southeasterly to easterly. As that low moves in Friday afternoon, they're going to change more northeasterly. And then as we get into Friday night, that wind's going to start driving out of the north. So it starts southeasterly, and then as that low moves up through the day, winds are going to shift more northerly. And that goes for pretty much the entire state there. When that low is directly overhead, we're going to have an area in East Michigan with south winds and an area in West Michigan with north winds. But overall, that low moves pretty quickly, so it's going to turn southeast and it's going to turn to the northwest.
Then our cold temperatures arrive.
Yes, it
Hi,
does.
Chris.
Yay! Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Yes, there's possibility of snow tonight in pretty much the entire state. Although accumulation is going to be 1 to 2 inches, and that's going to be mainly for the west side of Michigan. We could see an inch or two on the east side sneak in there, but for the majority, it's going to be pretty light snow and not very impactful.
Oh, I'm just gonna sneak past you there.
Is this likely to shift east a little?
Potentially.
Potentially, yes. Although I'm going to say further east, if you want to see like a 50 to 100 mile shift, no. Minor shifting, yes.
Could shift anyway, really. I mean, we don't know the exact track, and we won't know the exact track really until it goes through. But the models are all in pretty good agreement over the track of things currently.
Yeah, one thing I can bring up here, Chandler, is what I typically do here when people ask for shifting is I go to the main area here. If I go right here for the majority of people in Southeast Michigan, here's your rain changing to snow, or your snow changing to rain, should I say. And if I go back and click on this compare to previous model runs, I can go ahead and go back and run this through. You're going to see the shifting here of latest model runs. This is your shifting going on. Not much going on there. There's one major shift there that came into agreement with a lot of other models there. But overall, the shifting, once it was set there, giving Southeast Michigan rain right here, there wasn't really much change with that. This model runs same thing. This model runs same thing. This model runs same thing. So for the past 4 runs here of this model, it's not really shifting much at all. So
Right.
that's why we say minor shifting is possible, but nothing like we were going to see back here yesterday. What happened? We're not going to see that big shift down. So.
Husband has to drive from Detroit to Grand Rapids on Friday morning. What is a safe time for him to go? I think really any time before 11, as long as he's gone by. He might run into a little snow at the tail end, but
I say there was that one person that's driving the bus from Detroit to Lansing for a field trip, and we did mention earlier that in the morning should be good, but then when you start having accumulation build up by mid-afternoon, track starts to get dangerous. So definitely early as possible. Probably 9 a.m. is a good time.
yeah, hopefully power outages aren't too long and widespread from this.
I don't know if Chandler is on here, but I think somebody said the DTE or Consumers Energy was calling in over 1,000 or 2,000 linemen from outside the state.
It's crazy.
So they're getting prepared for it.
Do any of you guys know where Tuscola County is?
Yes.
Yep.
How much snow and wind could we see there, Ryan or Joel?
Tuscola County, you're going to be on that zone of rain/snow mix. It could go either way for you, but for right now,
I think Tuscola is a little bit further north than you think.
what?
So
It's up by Saginaw.
yeah,
Right.
it's just to the west of Saginaw there on our map there.
West of Saginaw or east of Saginaw?
Sorry, east.
East. Sorry.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
pretty.
you said east.
It's still pretty close to that line, though, so it could go either way. But I guess right now we have you more in a snow area there. But don't be shocked if that does shift in the next coming forecast.
Can you guys hear Otis just scratching away?
Yeah.
Yep.
What would winds in Belleville be like? So winds across the entire state are going to be between 25 and 35 miles per hour sustained throughout the period of this event, including when it snowfalls. So we could see whiteout conditions, but the majority of wind gust will likely reach 45 to 50 miles per hour. And that does include Belleville.
Marcy
What
asks,
is
what are
go
the
ahead.
chances of this storm dissipating?
Very, very little.
Very low.
minimal at best?
The only way this storm is going to downtrend is if these accumulations somehow look a little bit less than what we expect. Otherwise, this storm is going to happen. We're going to get snow here in Michigan. It's just a matter of how much snow at this point.
Or it just shifts 500 miles to our south at the 11th hour, which
That would be unheard of.
yeah, the way the
I
jet's
would
set up, I don't think
lose
it's going to happen.
my mind.
I mean, if you just look at the 250 millibar upper air levels where the jet stream's at, I mean, you can just see we're in a good. I can't think of the word for up down, but yeah, it's not zonal. It's not straight across.
Meridional flow.
Meridional, yep.
There you go. Amanda, shifting of the 8 to 12 zone is unlikely at this point. That area is pretty well set. Further east in that gray to blue zone, that could shift a little bit. So pay attention to our forecast if you live, or just pay attention to the forecast in general. But if you're in Southeast Michigan, kind of expecting that snow rain line to shift a little bit, we'll update that tomorrow afternoon for you.
Julie is wondering if a trip from Cadillac to Grand Rapids would be safe if they leave at 4 p.m. on Friday. I would say no.
No.
If you do not have to, I would not be out there.
Yeah, try not to if you don't have to.
I believe that's when we were expecting the heaviest snowfall to occur.
After 4 p.m., yeah.
Yeah.
Any
And that
forecast for
could
next
change.
week? Cold.
Yeah, cold. Making
Very
ice.
cold.
For all you ice fishermen out there, making ice. Yes. I'm excited
I'll
for
be
that
ready.
too.
I'll be ready.
Yes, Drew, they did. I know somebody out there in Kansas who was intercepting that storm, and they did have wind gusts up to 60.
What about traveling to Niles from Kalamazoo around 7 a.m. on Friday? You'd probably be fine.
Yeah, if it's Friday, you're good. If it's Saturday, no. Flight out of Grand Rapids at 6 a.m. on Saturday. Wonder if it will be canceled. Probably.
Yeah, probably.
I see on here smoke controls. Follow your page there. Yes, ice is likely going to start forming on the lakes starting Sunday. We're gonna have pretty Arctic air there. So for ice fishing lovers, you're gonna love the long-term forecast. Hopefully, it sticks around long enough to get some thick enough ice there for you guys.
I'm ready.
I need to try my new shanty out.
Should travel be safe by Sunday in Macomb County? Yes, I'm going to say yes on that. Yeah, it is normal for Kansas there, Holly. I agree there. They're in the plains there. Nothing's stopping that wind. So
Flight out of Grand Rapids 6 a.m. on Saturday. Definitely a good chance of it being delayed, if not canceled. It's about peak time.
Joel, I think we answered that one already.
Sorry.
It's all right. Thanks for coming, Joel.
I was looking at the positioning of the low on the models in certain levels of the atmosphere, because if it's not vertically stacked, if it's tilted a little bit, that's usually when we get stronger. And right now it looks pretty off kiltered, I guess you could say.
See a question here. Will an 8 to 12 zone shift, or will it go up or go down? So when it comes to winter forecasting here, we start conservative and work our way up. We don't want to set expectations too high. So we put it on the low end of things right now. But given model guidance, we go with trends. So trends is one thing happening repeatedly over the course of time. So the trend right now in the models is a higher accumulation than 8 to 12. But we don't want to give that just yet, just in case it starts trending down tomorrow. So by tomorrow, if our confidence does increase and the trend stays the same, that 8 to 12 zone will likely go up. And that 4 to 8 zone as well will likely get bumped up a few inches as well.
If it stays.
How long will the snowpack stick around? Freedom, that's a great question. And the answer is going to be a pretty long time. I don't see a day in the long term above freezing. So this might be on the ground for at least 10 more days after Sunday. So at least a week. So, yeah, that'd be 10 days. So
Hunter Ice Festival in Niles. I would be shocked if they have it going. Honestly, I'm down by where you live, dash. I would be shocked if they have it still. I've heard about it. I haven't heard of any rumors that they're planning on canceling or rescheduling it, but I would be very surprised if they ran it as scheduled. Not impossible, but
Michael, I'm going to say 7 o'clock, but I'm going to go ahead and say it's up to the guys who wants to join. If you guys want to join 7, what works for you guys? 7:30, 8. If you guys want to join, jump in.
Whatever.
You,
I'm fine with whatever. Just set something up.
Nick, Chandler.
I'll either be here or not be here.
yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat.
Okay, let's go ahead and do 7 p.m. then.
yeah, that'll work fine.
Okay, let's go ahead and set for 7 p.m. We'll go ahead and schedule it once we hop off here.
If I'm still at work, maybe I can take a break from my dart game to jump in.
Kevin, you are likely going to have snow on the ground when all said and said and done. It starts to snow, changes to rain late Friday, and then ends as snow. So it's likely you're going to have snow still on the ground when the system has exited the region. So just because you're in that mix area, you're still likely going to have snow.
Bruss says, do you think Tuscola County could see 10 plus inches? Some miles say so. He also followed up that northern Tuscola County, and it is definitely close enough where you could be seeing 10 inches of snow in northern Tuscola County. We do know that model runs are showing that 10 to 12 inches are possible here. But again, this forecast is more on the conservative side, so we decided to put you guys in the 4 to 8 range for now.
Here's one. Looks more mild for us than what went through yesterday. Well, there's going to be a lot of cold air coming in behind it. So while the storm itself may be a little bit more mild in temps, we're going to see temps below 0 upcoming next week. So just know that. And whenever there's heavy snow and winds like we're getting, I know may not think it's worthy of warnings, but when you get the winds mixed with the snow, that's when the warnings come into play. That's why they're out for this storm.
And I will say, with that colder air on the backside of this low, that's going to also increase the amount of blowing you're going to have, because with lighter snow, or with, should I say, with colder temperatures, that means the snow will be lighter and not as heavy. So a lot of blowing with that as well.
Turns into like sand.
Yeah.
Just be thankful we have the lakes. It would be a lot colder.
I'm seeing more questions about travel Friday morning or travel Friday afternoon. If you can travel in the morning, I would definitely say travel in the morning instead of the afternoon to keep it simple.
Bruh asks, I have seen some gusts to around 50 to 60 miles per hour in some models. Is that possible for the strong below? Yes, it is, but those instances over 50 miles per hour will be isolated at best. So the high end gusts we're going to set there at 50 miles per hour. Although it's not going to be unheard of if we get a few gusts higher than that.
Brandy asks if we were aware of that ice storm last year. I want to say yes.
Yeah, I was in the thick of it, actually. I had lost power for 3 days, I think. Then the week after that, we had another power outage that lasted 4 days. That was a hard time for South Michigan.
That was in February, right?
Yes. What, Jim?
Sorry, what'd you say, Chan?
I said Ryan was cranky.
I was not.
think a 3 p.m. Detroit airport, I think you should be able to get out on a flight. Storm chasing on the lake, what do you think I should expect? Waves and wind.
Yeah, wind and snow.
And snow. Calm
I know if you're going up to Lake Superior, I saw the area forecast discussions thinking about freezing spray, which is very painful.
Yes.
We do not cover Madison, Wisconsin.
Not as much snow.
Well, I mean, maybe earlier or maybe Thursday night into Friday they could. (8:30 a.m. flight out of DTW. Do you think it's getting out? Depends on what day. I'm guessing Friday.
Friday, yes.
Should be fine.
Yeah. South Haven area would be your target area. Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of wind and snow. They're on the lake shore. Ryan was saying there was going to be, or they're predicting about 15-foot waves out there.
What?
Yeah.
Where?
I'd imagine that's probably more in the middle of the lake. Not so much on the.
That's correct. Yes.
Not so much on the lake shore, but you're still going to see some pretty high wave action.
Otis, why?
All right, guys. If you have any more questions here, go ahead and ask them now. We're probably going to hop off here in a few minutes.
Friday, 6 to 8 p.m., Grand Rapids area. What's the possibility it's going to be okay to be outside? As far as wind chill, I'm assuming you're asking.
It'll still be mild then.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cold air doesn't really fill in until Sunday. So if you're worried about wind chills, don't really be worried about wind chills.
I mean, it's going to be cold with that wind.
Yeah, yeah, right. Don't get us wrong. It's going to be cold.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. What happened?
What, could you hear it?
No.
Oh. I don't know how to. Oh, here, I'll just hold it this way. So Bud here was trying to get up the cat tree and tried to jump up and got his front paws here and had nothing else to grab onto. And so just kind of tried to grab and claw into any and everything. And I had to catch him. No, don't go down that way. Don't do it. Oh, he's going to do it. Oh, my goodness. Bud.
Yes, Mike, these totals are strictly system snow. We're not forecasting lake effect just yet.
He's going to do something dumb like this.
Drew says the lakeshore piers are going to look pretty once the water freezes on them. Yes. Yes, they will. Those are some of my favorite pictures of the lighthouses when they're covered in ice.
Christine, for Newport, you're going to be in between 1 to 5 inches of snow, although you are close to Lake Erie there, so we may have less accumulation because you're so close to that lake. But you will still have really strong winds out of the northeast for a period of time there, and also the north and northwest eventually by Saturday morning. Expect 1 to 5 inches of snow, but don't be shocked if you have the lesser end of that because you are so close to the lake. Yes, bruh. I do expect that to be the case. I'm sorry, your name cracks us all up here, bruh. But yes, I would expect there to be some blizzard criteria met for a large portion of Michigan. But again, we don't issue those warnings. That's NWS. We don't know what they're gonna do. But current thinking with the models, we do think it's gonna reach criteria.
Emily asks, has the system been staying on track? They're ready for some
Yes.
snow, and yes, it has been staying on track.
This has been pretty consistent for over a week now. So, like we saw this system when we were talking about yesterday's system. We were watching this on the horizon. Didn't want to say anything to take the focus off the system yesterday, but we've been watching this for quite some time.
Almost a week now.
Yeah.
We covered it in depth for our subscribers a couple days ago as well, so they had the heads up before we released that info to the public.
When does it start on the west side?
Friday around 10 a.m. I'd say for a good bet. Could be a little bit earlier or later. Again, we're gonna adjust our timing. We'll get a timing map up on our page tomorrow evening for you guys to look at to expect when the snow is going to start for you. But expect it in the southwest earlier than you will in the northeast part of the state. Bruh says, sorry if his name is funny. He's 14 years old. Hopefully be a meteorologist in the future.
Start learning math now, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be
Good
getting
at
there,
it.
man. Put your mind
Get
to
at
it.
math.
Put your mind to it and you can do anything you want.
Math and science.
It's kind of like physics in the sky had a baby with calculus, and then that's it. Pretty easy.
That's one way to put it.
Calculus, bruh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, these snow totals are separate from the lake effect that we'll see before the event starts and after the event starts. And we'll probably do like a separate graphic for that here in the coming hours.
For those of you who are under winter storm watches right now, I would expect those to turn to winter storm warnings within probably the next 24 hours. I'm going to assume they're going to be issued tomorrow afternoon around 3 to 4 p.m. Again, for the areas who have winter storm watches. Now, it is important, as Alex mentioned a lot earlier in the stream, for those of you who are outside those winter storm watches, you will likely still get winter weather advisories, a little bit less of a, I don't know how you put it, a little bit less severe than a winter storm watch or winter storm warning. A winter weather advisory is just covering for driving conditions and overall impacts. It's not as high as winter storm warning, but it is still covering the lower end of the spectrum here.
Ryan, do you want to show a graphic from the NWS websites to see who? Okay, yeah, thank you, to show who is in.
It's kind of hard to see it there. We'll go over it one more time here. The Detroit area, the only counties that are not in the watch is a line from Port Huron down to the border of Ohio. So the counties that I know, Lenawee, Monroe, Wayne, Washtenaw, Macomb, this
St.
one
Clair.
was St. Clair, and then Oakland County.
Yep.
You guys are not in the watch in Southeast Michigan. You will likely be issued a winter weather advisory by probably tomorrow evening, if I had to guess. For areas up in Gaylord, the only areas that are not in a winter storm watch were these counties, which I do not know the names. Joel, if you have those up.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Yeah,
Not issued in the winter storm watch is Sheboygan, Emmett, Charlevoix, Antrim, Grand Traverse, Leelanau, Benzie, and Manistee County.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. If you live in under the Grand Rapids county warning area, every single county is in the winter storm.
Yes,
watch.
every single, as you see on the map here, every single county on the west side of Michigan is under that winter storm watch. And again, that watch is for 6 or 8+ inches, depending on your location. For West Michigan, it's 6+. For Northern Michigan, I believe it's 8+, if I remember correctly. But still, a significant amount of snow is expected, and also heavy winds as well. So,
Did you show Northern Indiana?
yes.
Or does it go all the way down? I can't see on the thing.
It doesn't, actually. It doesn't. I can do that here. Give me a second. The bottom tier counties here, and Berry and Cass, Branch, St. Joseph, Hillsdale, you guys are all under that watch as well. And then also, if you live across the border in Indiana, you guys are also the first tier counties in Indiana is under that winter storm watch as well.
Do you know him, Ryan?
I do not. I can tell you one of them is St. Joseph County. I can probably tell you one of them is Steuben County.
Yep.
Elkhart County, St. Joseph County. I think Kosciuszko is one, maybe. But...
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
That's to the south. That's
Okay.
That's where Warsaw's at. It's LaPorte, St. Joseph, Elkhart, LaGrange,
LaPorte,
Steuben.
that was the other one. Well, my phone is going to die, gentlemen, and I still can't get it to work on my laptop, so I am going to have to tally ho. Thank you for champagne and shrimp.
I think we're all going to hop off here. We've been going about 2 hours, and chat is going pretty slow here. There's 250 people on here, but we've answered a lot of questions. If you guys want more information, we do have the forecast you see on your screen. We do have that in detail in writing, pinned to the top of our Facebook page. So if you guys have any further questions, we do cover everything in that forecast for you to look at.
If you're interested in any deeper dive and more weather analysis, you can always subscribe to our Patreon as well as our Facebook page, where we post some extremely in-depth weather reports there, forecasts as well, and you do get access, if you subscribe to our Facebook page, to a live chat that has all of us in it, so we can answer questions for you too.
Yeah, if you guys want to know specific locations, specific forecasts, snow, temperature, all that, you can just message us for that. We'll give it to you. There's perks to being a subscriber. You don't have to. We post all information publicly, but if you want more in-depth on what we do publicly, as Chandler said, we do offer that in the subscription.
Well, later.
See you, Chan.
See you, Chandler. We're going to go ahead and hop off here. If you guys are Joel, Nick, if you guys have anything else to say, now's the time, but I think we're about to hop off here.
Just thanks for watching.
Appreciate you guys.
I was going to say for subscribers, it's never like a thing that you have to do. We'll never hold back information from you guys. So.
Yep, it's just if you want a more in-depth look. And also, I can say we have alerted subscribers first to incoming storms before we release it to the public. For example, this storm here, they knew about it a full day before we released it to the public. So that is another perk of being a subscriber as well. With that being said, we're going to hop off here. Another live stream. We're going to schedule it for 7 p.m. tomorrow for updates. Feel free to join back, ask your questions again if you like. And until then, pay attention to our page for any updates. We'll be posting throughout the evening and morning. With that being said, guys, adios.
See ya.
Good night, everybody.